I don't know if it's on or not. Somebody's doing, not me.
Did someone just call in?
Say your name.
Pete McIntyre.
Oh, hi, Pete. It's Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. Okay. Yep. You're on.
Good, thank you.
Okay.
There was a school with an orange team up there.
Oh, yeah.
Lisa, could you hear me?
I can. Is that Jerry?
It is.
Okay.
Lisa, you still at home?
Every other week.
Is that it? Every other? The town hall is open?
No, well, the town hall has been open. We've been closed to the public. But about a month, 5 weeks ago, departments that have more than one people, they're switching on and off.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was
Closed to the public.
correct. Yeah. Yeah. So I was there last week. I'm home this week.
Do you have any idea when you go back to normal?
No, I asked him last week, because of the May 20th, but he said no, not yet. We have to, like in the clerk's office and the building department, they have to install, the partitions.
Oh, plexiglass.
Yeah, the plexiglass. Yeah. So they have to do that before we can open. I mean, that's one thing that has to be done, but the mayor's not too, in too much of a rush to open to the public yet.
What happens to people who want building permits and development housing stuff?
We have a great system. We've had the drop box by the front door. It was rough, for the first week or so, but same thing with land recordings, and vitals and death certificates. I mean, we're still so busy, but people are dropping things off in the drop box for the land recordings. They want to wait for the receipt. They give us a call. They put it in the box. We go out there, retrieve it. We process it. We put it on a clipboard. It's a little extra work, a little extra effort, but it's working out really well. And the same thing with the building permits. It's just working out well.
Yeah, I guess if you don't have to come in and see maps or records, it's not too bad.
Right. And we're online, so title searchers.
Oh, you can do it all there if you know.
We've been online for several years. Some of them have, and we have a monthly, so a lot of them are just, doing like the monthly subscription. And so that really hasn't stopped either. And if someone like a homeowner, hey, I need a copy of my deed, they just call us up, we print it for them, we put it out there. So it's, we got a little system and it's working great.
Yeah.
Steve Jeskowitz on the line.
Hi, Steve.
How are you, Lisa?
Oh, just Ducky. How are you?
Wonderful. I just heard that the barber shops have to stay open for another or closed for another 2 weeks.
I know.
No, well, he
What's
hasn't
going on?
said.
I look like a Cocker Spaniel. My hair is so long and so bushy.
So we'll see what happens now. We got so 1 June now.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm missing for my haircuts.
I thought he didn't give a date, Steve. I thought he just said it won't be May 20th.
No, I think he said till 1 June or later.
He said till 1 June because that's when
What's the later part?
that's when Rhode Island is opening theirs.
1 June?
Yeah.
When did that come up?
Just this afternoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I needed to get my haircut 2 months ago.
Yeah, me too.
Dog clippers.
Wobie.
That's one thing I won't do is cut my own hair.
Well, even though Eastern, New London County could easily open, but obviously we have to play by the rules of Fairfield County and Hartford County.
Right. Yeah, I guess he got quite the backlash from a lot of the salon owners about opening so soon.
Oh yeah, because they've been prepping their stuff to reopen,
Yeah.
bringing staff back online. I mean, well, either way. All right, so it's just now 5 o'clock. I'll wait about another minute, and then I'll go ahead and get the meeting started.
Okay. I know Jerry's here. I know Pete's here. I see Mike Brennan, Steve June. Oh, hi, Gary. Hey, Gary.
Bob's here too.
Oh, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Okay.
How you doing?
All good, Bob. All right, I guess we'll go ahead and get the meeting started. It is the 18th of May at 5:01 p.m. I call this regular meeting of the Town of Ledyard Permanent Municipal Building Committee to order. This is a regular meeting being held remotely via WebEx. We'll go ahead and start with a roll call. This is Steve Jeskowitz, Chair.
Jerry Chesky.
Sharp,
Wayne Donaldson, Ledyard Public Schools.
Gary Schneider. Bob Guerrero, Board of Ed.
Stephen June, Silver Petroselli.
Mike Brennan, O&G.
Dan Hetzler, O&G.
All right, based on that, we have a quorum. I don't know if Katie's gonna dial in or not, but we'll go ahead and get started with the meeting.
Or Steve Shuttleworth. I didn't hear, Steve's not there, right? I didn't hear from Steve. I don't see Steve. No.
Okay. All righty. If I was able to get a haircut, I would use the video dial-in. You know that. All right.
Oh, come on, look scrappy
I
like like the rest of us.
Yeah, it's rough. I was counting on that haircut Wednesday. All right. The first item on the agenda here, I'm going to go ahead and see if we have the approval of minutes first, actually, before citizens. So with that, the minutes for our 4 May meeting are posted online and available. And I've reviewed those minutes, and I will entertain motions to accept the minutes.
Steve,
Pete,
I don't know if you
Go
saw,
ahead.
Dan had emailed us, Dan Hetzler from O&G, and he had a few comments on them.
All right. I don't know if I saw that email. So Dan, would you want to bring up any issues that you have?
Sure. I can just, this is Dan Hetzler speaking. See which page I'm on. On page 2, I was going to make a note that Mike Brennan's name had a spelling error. And then in my first statement, under my comment to the landscaping, there's a word, the word in the first sentence reads, both sides have established a punch list, but I meant to say both sites with a T. And then at the end of the third sentence, I wanted to make a point that I mentioned that BSC performed a back check on April 17th, but we didn't receive a field report or notification of any follow-up work needed. And so Lisa has my text in the form of that email.
Yep.
And that's basically what it says.
And Lisa, have those been placed in the agenda? I mean, on the minutes?
No, Dan just emailed today with his comments.
Draft
So I
today
told
and made.
him- Yeah, so I told him we would bring it up. We would bring it up, at tonight's meeting.
Oh, okay. You know what? I now see the second place where Mike Brennan's name is spelled wrong. Okay, understand. All right. So with those changes of Mike Brennan's name being spelled, the site sides to site, and the additional comment on BSC's, BSC's report of 17 April, I will move that we accept the minutes with those changes.
second, Pete McIntyre.
Okay, second by Pete.
Yep, hold on, I'm sorry, Steve, there's one other one. Further down, when Ferguson Electric, I have ordered 3 other time clocks. Dan had asked if it's, Ferguson Electric ordered replacement lighting controls for the parking lot lights.
And one more, if I may. The one that actually caught my eye first, and that was the dollar value on the top of page 3 is incorrect.
Oh yeah, we're missing a 1.
Right.
Which is weird because I just copy and paste those, so I'm not quite sure what happened.
Oh, it is, you're right.
Do you see it, Steve?
Yes.
Change order
the
number
bold-
202.
Yeah, the one in bold.
Yes.
Yes, that should, well, it should read with the motion above it.
Right.
To match the 15-145.
Yep.
All right, so with those substantive changes, that's a friendly amendment, and my motion is still out to accept the minutes.
Second, Pete McIntyre.
Second by Mr. McIntyre. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes with those modifications, signify by saying aye. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Gary
Pete
Cheminsky,
McIntyre, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob Guerrero, aye.
right, I think that's all the voting. All right, with that, the motion is approved and the minutes are approved. All right, I'm going to take about a pause for 30 seconds here. If there are any citizens who have dialed in, I'm on Roman numeral number 5 on the agenda. This is an opportunity for you to address the committee, so I'll pause for 30 seconds while you have a chance to chime in. Okay, having heard no citizens' comments, we'll move along for informational items. I have none to present. Lisa, do you have anything you've received of note?
I do not.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to the Ledyard School Improvement Project. We'll start out with updates. We'll get Wayne. Wayne, your inputs first on the 2 schools. Start with either school and tell me what's been going on campus. Over to you, Wayne.
I'll start with the middle school. We're making progress. At least every day, something is either being scheduled or there's contractors in doing something, which is nice to see. So we are, slowly chipping away at the punch list. The electrician is working on all the projects that were there, which was the stage lighting, the outlets in the chorus room. I did call Steve today because when they put the outlet strip on the wall, there is a total of like 60 outlets in it, and he has that all on one circuit. So I just wanted to be sure that that wasn't going to be a problem with the 60 outlets on them. I believe it's a 15 amp circuit that they ran in there.
Did you say 60 outlets? 60?
60 outlets, yes.
Wow, what are you plugging into that?
There's only 20 pianos going into it, which are low voltage, DC converters that plug in. So there's a lot more there than we needed.
This is Steve, and I did check with our electrical engineer this afternoon, and he is fine with what's out there, amazingly enough.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
According to, I talked to Mike earlier, they're supposed to be installing the automatic door hardware and stuff tomorrow at both schools. We still don't have any update on the HVAC issues at LMS. I don't know if I haven't heard that Action Air has been in to change that grid that they were thinking about to try and get the noise down in that room. And we're still waiting on the completion of the final landscape items. They did most of it. They did all the trees, the seating and stuff. We'll see if that comes up. It's only been a few weeks. But there's still some pavers that have to be cut and some other miscellaneous items that they need to address. That's it for LMS. Anybody have any questions on LMS?
I would jump in if I might, just to give you a heads up. I did find out that the fencing company will be out to do their items this week, Wayne. I haven't got confirmation of the date.
Okay, no problem.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, you guys have an open window. Just let me know so I can make the school aware. So that's not a problem. Yep.
And it's Mike, a couple other items. The
Yep.
locker room, we started work in the locker rooms,
Yep.
if you will.
Yep. That looks pretty good, actually. And I know by the plan, but I was also had to check with Steve on that. The bench was removed from the handicap stall. I talked to him about that, Mike. We're just trying to figure out, should a bench be going back in there? It was taken out because it was in the doorway.
Yeah, you and I talked about that, but I
Yeah.
thought it needed that 5-foot radius for turning, and the bench was to be relocated out into the.
That is correct. We do need the radius.
Okay,
That's
so
what I
there's no
figured.
bench going to be in that room.
Correct.
Okay, and that, as long as that meets code, I'm fine with it. Okay. Yeah, the board,
Let's talk. Let me, hey, Wayne, Steve
Yep.
here, just to make sure, we don't have a requirement to have a bench, but if we have a bench, it can't impede the radius for the handicap stall. Is that correct?
That is correct.
There's no requirement to have the bench.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. And is there, have we had any issues where anyone's identified that they need that bench or some type of a bench? Because that was a big bench in that small room.
Yeah, it was. I haven't heard anything at all. But then again, I also don't think that we have any wheelchair students currently in the school. That doesn't mean we won't have any next year, but to the best of my knowledge, we don't currently have any that are wheelchair bound at this point.
I can see if we can get a fold down, some sort of fold down seat.
It might not be a bad idea like they do in the shower.
Right, that's what I was going to suggest. We might have to have a handrail on the wall there with it, but the other question is, would it be unrealistic that a handicapped student would require a assistant to have to help them inside that space?
It's always a possibility.
But that would not require a larger space. It would just be that they have sufficient room for both of them in there.
I would assume so, but that'd be an answer for Steve.
Yeah, I think we're
Check
fine.
with our office.
Yeah, we don't have a requirement to have a bench, but we'll look at options, and that'd be great, Steve.
Okay.
Wayne, continue. Dan, I know you were bringing on some items for the middle school there before Wayne goes to Gallup Hill. So was there anything else on Ledyard Middle?
I was good. It was actually Mike that was giving some updates. Mike?
Yeah,
Anything more?
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, just want to let the committee know that we're working on the shop drawings for the main sign. And getting all those nuances figured out by way of details with the mason and the stone that's required for that sign. So that's in the process. Again, I mentioned the locker room. The fire alarm guy will start the mag holder fire alarm portion of that work the end of this week. And as Wayne said, the outlets are Ferguson is working on all the electrical items that have been approved in the last couple of weeks. So let me see, just let me check my other list here. The stair treads are also complete at LMS. The kitchen guy was back there last Thursday to check on some equipment items that Wayne wanted taken care of. Some got done. I'm still waiting for a couple other vendors to get to the site. Let's see what else here. And that's about it for LMS.
Okay, and Mike, when you come out tomorrow, we can take a quick peek at that locker room also. There's one item there I want to see how we might be able to address. When they moved the lockers, they created a spot where it can just get filled up with trash.
I think he planned to put a blank plate over that, like a dummy blank plate.
That would be fine, yeah.
He called me on the phone that trying to make use of what we got, so to speak, and make everything work. So.
Yep. No, that's fine. Okay.
Hey, while we're talking about LMS, did we ever resolve the blue lights for?
We haven't resolved them in either school.
Okay, do we know what the answer needs to be?
The answer needs to be that they have to be separated, but Mike is waiting on some kind of confirmation from the fire marshal, and he's just been going crazy with the COVID. So I'll try and reach out to him again, but I don't know if he's available to take the time to get that documentation yet.
All right, the other question on the fire marshal would be the mag holds. In order for them to be open, before we can put them into use and actually have them open, does the fire marshal have to inspect that work?
I assume he's going to have to inspect it at some point to be sure that they release and close when the fire alarm goes off.
All right. Well, once we've tested them, we know they work, then we can bring him in for that.
Yeah.
Yep. We're not in a rush because the kids aren't in the building at the moment.
Correct. Correct.
All right. That all looks good. Anything else on Ledyard Middle?
No, well, like I said, there's still a number of items on the punch list, but we're picking away at them every day. Something gets knocked off or something scheduled, so we're making progress.
Okay, let's move on to Gallup Hill School.
Again, work is scheduled to begin tomorrow on the automatic doors. We had 2 additional glycol leaks. I was told by the tech that was there that Action Air is going to look at replacing all the valves that are leaking. They believe that it was some kind of manufacturing error. So they're going back. I don't know where that stands. I don't know if Mike's heard any more on that. One of them caused considerable damage, came down on top of the projector in the room and the speaker and everything else. So we'll have to deal with that. Still having an ongoing issue with the parking lot lights. I was there either Thursday or Friday. They were on during the day. I got a call from the neighbor that they were on all weekend. I was there today and they were off. So I don't know what's going on there. But I talked to the electrician, Ferguson, today, and he said they're going to be out there again tomorrow to take a peek. The fencing is complete around the retention pond, the gates, all that fencing work is done. And we're waiting on the final furniture install now that the electric's done in the offices, so they can come back and put the rest of the office furniture together. And like I said, the stair treads are complete at Gallup Hill also.
All right, let's just take an opportunity here. So do we have any movement, Mike, with the balancers or anyone on the 4 rooms that are the perennial problem at the Gallup Hill?
They were on site, Steve. I just can't get my hands on the information to get it to Silver Petrocelli, and I've been asking. I just
okay. We'll keep.
They
were
at the site.
Roger.
In fact, they were at the site 2 weeks ago.
Understand. Okay. Anything else, Wayne, with respect to Gallup Hill School?
No, I mean, the only other thing is the driveway, which will be coming up later with Mike. That's it. And I mean, again, we're making progress every day. Something either comes up or, is scheduled. So,
all right, and we're going to talk about item 9. We're going to talk about the asbestos or the vermiculite rather in the wall.
Yeah, those were on the agenda, so I didn't bring them up now.
Okay, Steve June, do you have anything to add in from design and engineering?
No, I'm just spending about, I would say, half an hour's worth of work over the whole week, just answering questions, reviewing change orders. My work is very minimal.
I'm just looking at all the money we're saving in mileage from various contracts with people not having to drive as much.
Yeah, I love it.
It's going to be great. All right, so that being said, let's move on to some change orders here. The first change order on the agenda is change order number 170 from O&G. It's for Gallup Hill School. This is to pave the driveway to the storage shed. If you open it up, you can kind of look on the, I guess it's like the 5th page or so. There's a drawing that shows where that comes off the Gallup Hill Road, off of Town Farm Road. And it goes ahead to the, to allow for a turnaround there and everything like that. So the thing I wanted to bring up is that when we got this at our last meeting, the price was about double because the spec was so high. It turns out that they'd already started doing some of the work as well before we even approved it. So with all that, we wound up getting a new price on that, and the new price is now down to $20,957, which if we went out and got that bid out and everything, since went through 3 whole bids and everything like that, we'd wind up. I think it's a pretty good deal now. It's 2 inches of bid on the top, but we got some really, really good underlayment here. So with that, they're standing by to finish this work off so we can make good use of that storage building. So with that, I move that we accept change order number 170. This is now revised to $20,957 for the Gallup Hill School paving the driveway to the storage shed.
Second, Pete McIntyre.
Okay, it has been seconded. Is there any discussion or questions?
I just have a quick question. There looked like there were some big stumps near there, still in the ground. Are those coming out, Wayne, or being found out?
I don't know. We'll have to ask. Gerber agreed that they would do some cleanup of that area, which they have considerably. I don't know whether they were planning on pulling those stumps or not, because they're both close to the new pavement. One of them is close to the new pavement and the street, and the other one is very close to the street. So my gut feeling is probably not, but maybe Mike can answer that.
No, that's excluded in the proposal. If you look at it, Wayne, those are those 2 foot or 2.5 foot diameter trees.
Yeah.
We stump those, you'll be digging forever. So
Yeah.
What about
that was
grinding
not
them off?
I'm sorry.
Say again?
What about getting a grinder in there to grind them off so it doesn't look like we have two stumps sitting in front of the building?
I mean, we can. I could ask Gerber for a price, but again, this proposal excluded it, Joe.
Okay.
Hey, Wayne, do you guys have any of that equipment to grind those things out?
No. I can check with the town and see if they do.
Yeah, see if they do, because
Yeah.
I'm tired of adding, eventually they'll go away by themselves. I understand your point there, Jerry, or that maybe we can trim them down a little lower to the ground with a chainsaw. But in their proposal, they do say that they're gonna do some grade and they're gonna plant grass, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so with that motion, if there's no other questions, that motion is on the floor for vote. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of approving and accepting that change order, signify by saying aye. Steve Juskowitz, aye.
Jerry Cheminsky,
Pete
aye.
McIntyre, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob Guerrero, aye.
You guys might have gone over each other there. I'm not sure I got everybody's vote. Gary, did you vote?
Gary, yes. Gary, aye.
Okay, in that case then, the ayes have it, and the motion is approved. All right, moving on to the next change order. This is this change order is number change order 159. It's a $0 change order because we are, in fact, Dan, you want to go ahead and explain this one so we can understand how it worked out?
I'm going to have to actually defer to Mike on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
We had an allowance in our trade packages to the mason contractor for patching of basically the entire building, if you will. So going through this building, there was a substantial amount of patching above and beyond what most of us thought we would incur. So the patching did take place. All the T&M tickets are after that. This is specifically geared to all the MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing fixtures and piping that were pulled off the walls. Some larger openings that had to be patched. So essentially, what you have in front of you is it's a $25,000 above the, I believe it was 10 grand, and I have to go back and double check that, what was included in the allowances.
All right, so my question, Mike, then is in looking at this, it's the exact amount of the, we exceeded this amount and there's more of it's coming separate? Or how is this? Because
this is it. This takes care of all the patching for the Gallup Hill School.
So we had exactly 25,729 and we used exactly 25,729?
No, I'm sorry. No, Steve, this is above and beyond the original $10,000 in the allowance. This is above and beyond.
All right, so we're moving from CMR contingency rather, into the, to cover, we're moving money between the funds.
Correct.
All right, and this was this included in our last financial report from you?
It was.
Okay. All right, does anybody have any questions for Mike on this before we vote on it? I mean, the work is already done. We're moving the money to pay for it. All right, hearing none, I move that we accept change order number 159 under for the Gallup Hill School. It's a $0 change order, which reflects movement of money from, it exceeds the amount that they can move without notifying us from the CMR contingency to the Noble line as far as the trade goes of $25,729 for a net $0 change. So I move that we accept that change order. Gallup Hill School.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been seconded by Mr. Tominski. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving change order request number 159 for $0 signify by saying aye. Steve Juskowitz, aye.
Jerry Sminsky, aye.
McIntyre, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob Guerrero, aye.
All right, the ayes have it. In that case, the change order is approved. All right, moving on. Next, we have change order request number 234. This is for the Ledyard Middle School in the amount of negative $22,621. This is to close out the general trades. Again, this is a negative change order in the amount of $22,000. And I will entertain, well, actually, I'll go ahead and make the motion. So if you read through here, you'll see the layout of what's gone against the allowance already. And in addition to the $22,221 that comes out, there's also a reduction of CM fee by $400 for a total of $22,621. So with that, I move that we accept the change order number 234.
Second, Pete McIntyre.
Second by Mr. McIntyre. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the change order signify by saying aye. Steve Juskowitz, aye.
Pete McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Sminsky, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob Guerrero, aye.
All right, with that, the ayes have it, and the change order is accepted. All right, moving on, I've got change order request change order number 506. O&G Industries, this is for the Ledyard Middle School. It's a negative $2,217. Oops, somebody's not muted. It appears that we had an extra mag hold hardware-wise in the number that we needed to be installed at the school. So as a result of that, the previously approved change order had to be adjusted in the amount of $2,178 plus $39 less to O&G for a total of negative $2,217 for a credit. So with that, I move that we accept change order request number 506 for the middle school, negative $2,217. Motion's made.
Second, Pete McIntyre.
Second by Mr. McIntyre. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of accepting the change order, signify by saying aye in your name. Steve Juskowitz, aye.
Pete McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Sminsky, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob Guerrero, aye.
All right, the ayes have it. With that, the change order is accepted. Okay, moving on. Next, we have change order request number 146 for the Gallup Hill School. This is a fencing change order in the amount of $16,000. What?
Steve, can I just interject? Yeah. So for the next three, change order 146, 150, and 205, I still do not have signed change orders from SPA.
Okay, Steve Jr., you're online. Can you give me a verbal on the line that Civil Petroselli has reviewed? Okay, can you tell me all three?
Yes, for 146, 150, and 205, we are in agreement with the department.
All right. no problem there. So Lisa, would you just let the minutes note that we're voting on based on the verbal from Silver Petroselli, and we will, I'll sign them after they sign them.
Lisa, before you go through that motion, be aware that the number 8 is the Gallup at Gallup Hill is the brackets. We amended that last Friday to include some additional brackets that were missed in the quote. I have since sent that out revised this afternoon. I know Wayne is aware of it.
Yeah, I have that too written on this one. I was gonna mention it when we get to that one. Yeah.
Okay, but my point was Steve is approving the one for 17.
Then,
Looking at that one and not the revised one. Everyone's got the revised copy as of 3:30 today.
so
Correct.
does Steve, the $19,000 one?
Yeah, 19,647. That was sent today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
okay, just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that.
Okay.
Okay, we'll amend that on the discussion page. Still change order request number 146, excuse me, 150, correct?
146.
146 is fencing, 150 is smart boards.
Correct, Steve.
Yes.
Right, so 150 is amended, correct?
Yes.
All right, and Steve June, have you reviewed the amended change order for the smart boards?
Yes, I have.
And you're okay with that as well?
I have some issues. We had a discussion a while back about how out at this first site meeting, it was told that all of the boards should be lowered. But I have to dig in to find some information where, yes, we did call for all of the boards because the first initial meeting we had was for the first phase of the lowering of the boards. But Mike is saying that, hey, it was never mentioned for the second phase. And I'm saying, yes, it was mentioned for all of the phases.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, then we're going to hold off on voting on that while we resolve that. If this thing waits another 2 weeks, I can't see that being an issue because it's not like there's kids waiting for smart boards. So I'm going to table number 8 because if in fact those smart boards should have been installed differently from the get-go, and we can prove that, that becomes an issue for Custom Electric to have to deal with. Would that be correct?
Steve, with all due respect, we've been around to both Steves. We've been around and around on this, and I don't see any documentation to that effect. But I did order the boards based on the conversations that we've been having. So, if you want me to put a hold on them, I'll do that. But
I guess, Steve,
I thought this was resolved, quite honestly.
I did too.
I
Steve June,
apologize that it was dropped in my court.
So are we saying that there is a chance that this was supposed to have been done differently from the get-go and that the contractor was informed of that? Now, was it formally done or was it just minutes in a meeting?
That's what I've got to find out. Whether it was minutes in a meeting, notes in a meeting minutes, or notes in an email.
There was a formal COR to change the boards in the new edition, which we went back and revised. I've been through the documents. I couldn't find anything that supported changing the rest of the building because nobody knew where the 3rd grade, 4th grade, where everybody was going. So,
See, my problem is I was never at that first meeting. So I've got to dig through notes and emails.
Okay, Mike,
If I'd been
Brian,
at the first meeting, I could answer the question right off the bat.
All right, Mike, if we don't vote on this today, is that going to cause any problems?
my concern, Steve, is I ordered it. I don't have a delivery date. Is my point. So if they were ordering, they happen to show up tomorrow because I did already release it based on conversations that we had internally.
Right.
with myself and Wayne, then we're gonna have 15 brackets and then we're gonna be off to the races in some other direction.
Well, I'll tell you what, if,
Steve, you know, I'm not sure if ordering the brackets needs to be put on hold, because either way, we still have to get them. If it turns out the contractor should have done it, then it's gonna be, I would think, just an adjustment on how much we get billed by Custom Electric for the brackets themselves. You know, because I think either way, it's gonna be cheaper for them to supply the brackets than to open up the walls, put the supports inside the walls, and then rehang these units lower. With all that entails.
oh, I agree with you there. And if Steve June, if you were able to come up somehow with the documentation that they were supposed to have done this differently in the beginning, again, this is going to be way cheaper for them, and we'll have to have a negotiation with them afterwards. And Mike, if those brackets are on the way and they're on the way in, and we'll try to figure this out. Up to now, Custom Electric has sworn that they were never told to move them in the design. So we'll figure that out as we move forward. However, what I'm going to do, since they're already on order, that can be changed there. This change order amount may flip-flop, and we've got a change coming anyway on the number of them and the amount. So we'll just vote on it next week if that's okay, and we'll have more information then.
Okay.
Or not next, well, it's 2 weeks to our next meeting. I think that would be the best way to handle this. Or Mike, do you think we should just go ahead and approve the change order, and then if we need to, because to be honest with you, they're coming in and Custom is, we gave direction to Custom to order them, correct?
We did.
And what's the final amount with the number again?
19647.
19647 even?
Correct.
All right. So for the committee, just a quick for discussion here. It looks to me as though even if Steve June comes up with some documentation, we can go back and ask Custom Electric for a credit or something here. Would they have charged us anything else to install them differently in that change at the beginning, Mike?
The assembly is totally different because what the school wanted is varying heights. These brackets allow the school to adjust the board up and down based on the class that's going to be served in that classroom. That was the whole, why we went down this road, to get a variable height board.
But the original design should have been the same amount of work. Whether they put the support to mount that at 5 feet where they are, or down at 3 feet where they would have been inside the wall, that support would have been the same. If it's a block wall, they still would have drilled in a different spot. So there actually should have been no additional cost to do that at the lower level in the existing, in the new or the renovated section. So
by going with these boards, now we have the ability to have it in a higher level or the lower level, so we have more flexibility in the classroom anyway.
Correct.
All right. Well, if we find some documentation that we didn't need to do this, if they would have done what we asked them to do, we'll go back and ask Custom Electric to try to negotiate and meet us on something here. But in the meantime, I think we're going to get a different bracket. We're going to have, and Wayne, you should be able to keep all the old brackets here in case we have a problem, correct?
Correct. That won't be an issue.
And you're going to keep them. All right. So with that, I move that we accept a modification. We're going to jump here, go back up to fencing in a minute, but since we're on it, change order 150 for Gallup Hill School on the amended amount of $19,647 for smartboard brackets to be installed by Wayne's team for the Gallup Hill School. And in the meantime, Steve June, you're going to look for some documentation. So with that, that motion is out and on the floor.
Agreed.
All right, motion's been made.
I'll second it.
Pete McIntyre seconded that. Is there any discussion? All right. Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the change order revised for 19647, signify by saying your name and I. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Pete McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Trubinsky, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob, did you vote?
Bob?
Bob? You still there, Bob? We may have lost Bob. Do you see Bob?
No, I got it, sorry. I was having issues.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. With that, the change order is accepted. And we're going to go back up to the fencing, number 7 on the agenda, change order 146. This is the fencing we were talking about earlier. This is some additional fencing. You notice on the change order, it says add an extra 100 feet of, we're not doing that extra 100 feet. So the change order sits at $16,738.71 base price. And change order 146 O&G Industries for additional fencing. And I move that we accept the change order.
Second, Pete McIntyre.
And second by Pete McIntyre. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the change order signify by saying your name and I. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Pete McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Trubinsky, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob Guerrero, aye.
Okay, with that, the ayes have it. The change order is approved. All right. Moving on. All right, next item we have is the vermiculite change order. So on this particular one, we went back and forth a little bit to get some more information on this. And part of the issue here was that we do not, if you look at the change order, it is with, let me get it open here. It is with Best Tech. And Best Tech was a contractor on the middle school, but not the Gallup Hill School. Correct, Mike Brennan?
That's correct, Steve.
And based on the work that we've had done, we did look at this and ask the question. It was slightly higher in the unit price than we'd expected originally based on what Fussin O'Neill came out and said. However, one of the concerns that Mike Brennan had was the scope of the work, exactly what needed to be done, and our confidence in them to be able to get this thing done and get us out of there. Also, that depending on how we did it, we would have to go out, totally separate, 3 bids, time and everything. This is going to prevent kids from being in the school. Now, since then, we've learned the kids aren't going to be back in the school. However, depending on what happens and what we're reading about for the summer and things like that, we do want to try to make the building available so that, and not have any issues, so that should the building be used in any fashion, if they decide to do some summer school activity or something, that it is available, because we have no idea what's going to happen. I thought I was getting a haircut in 2 days. We'll see. So based on all that, I would like to, I'm going to recommend that we approve his change order through Best Tech. We do have the other option to do all this work outside the scope of the project. However, the experience that we have with O&G on site, with Best Tech has with this overall project, this is going to allow us to get this out of the way and get it over with. And we'll take care of the vermiculite issue and move forward. So with that, I'm suggesting that, and again, so Petroselli, you've signed your copy of this, correct?
No. This is a verbal.
Right, but Steve, I'm sorry, Steve June, you've reviewed this on behalf of Silver Petroselli, correct?
Correct. Sorry about that. I'm working on 2 computers with 2 different mouses.
No problem. I keep forgetting the mute button. All right. So with that, I move that we accept change order number 205 on the Gallup Hill School. This is for O&G Industries to bring Best Tech in to take care of the vermiculite at a total of $26,758. And Mike Brennan, just before it gets second by Mr. McIntyre, let me just make a comment. Mike, before you turn them on to this, we need to make sure that everything is in order with Fussin O'Neill to be ready to support this through the town. I want to make sure that that's all being handled correctly.
So, yeah, you have to re-engage them, Steve. So when you're ready, let me know, because they got a 10-day they got a 10-day window with the state of Connecticut, but as I mentioned to you, that should go pretty quickly because I took a gamble and got the permit at $100 out of my pocket to just make forward when we needed it. So
Okay, now
permit
on Fuss and
process is in process.
all right, so we need Fuss and O'Neill on under contract ASAP. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be good because now's the time.
All right, go ahead and let Fuss and O'Neill know that that they'll be hearing from us very, very soon on that, and they should be standing by to support. All right. So with that motion's been made, it's been seconded. All in favor of accepting the change order number 205, $26,758, signify by saying your name and aye. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Pete McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Chivinsky, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob Guerrero, aye.
All right, with that, the ayes have it. And the change order is accepted. All right, that should be the last item we have for change orders tonight. Is that correct? I don't think we have any others. And this is our last bi-weekly meeting. After this, we go to once a month. But I'm not afraid of having an emergency, but a special meeting as required. So our next regular meeting, let me just take a quick look at my calendar here, would be on, is that June 1st?
June 1, yeah.
June 1st. All right, so we're still on a 2-week schedule, but then we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks without a meeting. So we may wind up with a meeting in mid-June, depending on how things are going. We may all still be locked in our houses, who knows? So we'll sort that out as we move forward. Are there any other comments or anything related to the, Mike Brennan, back to you. When do you think Best Tech's ready to start work?
I will call them tomorrow. They told me they could jump on this. It's about a week's worth of work.
Sure.
Getting
All right.
contained,
Hey.
setting up the showers, and that type of thing. So,
Okay. Lisa, do you have a copy of the proposal from Fuss and O'Neill? Steve June, you sent that to us, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
I
Lisa,
can
do you have
send
a
another
copy of that?
copy.
Yeah, can you forward another copy to Lisa and to me? And then Lisa, when that comes in, if you can get that over to the mayor's office, and I'll call the mayor's office in the interim.
I'm not at work this week.
Oh, you're not. Okay, Steve June, send that to me again, and I will forward that to Lisa, or send it to Lisa and I. She'll put a copy in the record, and I will forward that over to the mayor. We had them under contract. This is kind of an extension of what we had with them earlier. And I'll explain to the mayor's office what we need here.
Okay, doing that now.
All right, appreciate that. All right, and Mike, we'll get that turned around as soon as possible. And are there any other items that need to be addressed tonight for the school improvement project?
I'm good.
I'm good, Steve. Thank you.
I'm good.
Okay. All right, with that, then I think we're in good shape tonight. For the folks that are on the line for the Ledyard School Improvement Project, O&G, Silver Petroselli, and you guys are, thank you, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Please keep things flowing by email. Things are going in a good direction, and we'll get these things punched out and still aim for this summer, closing out the project and moving on with the state. Thank you very much. Moving on to the high school track and field.
Thank you.
Okay, track and field is moving along very well. They still have a 5/20 tentative date for paving the track. I was out there today. They're still bringing stone in for the base of the field itself. So I'm not sure if they're going to make that 5/20 date, but it's not going to be too far off of that. So right now everything's on track. They are still trying to get the field complete by the 19th for graduation, if we can use it for that. Yep.
At our last meeting, you notified us that it wasn't going to be ready, I thought.
Well, they've come up between the manufacturer and Stone that there is a possibility, depending on weather, that they could very well make that date, but it means that everything, all the stars have to align.
What's the district planning for graduation right now?
We don't know. We just got some information from the state that said you can do graduation either virtually, you can do it by drive up where they drive by and they're presented their, roll the window down in the car and get presented your diploma, or you can have like a carpet out and the student would get his name announced, walk up to a table, pick up his diploma, get a quick picture taken, and then go back in the car. That's what's being recommended. The superintendent and the high school are trying to put something together to propose to the health department, in the next day or two. So we should know more shortly.
Okay, and so will any of those actually use the field?
None of those, I don't believe, would use the field.
Okay, got it. All right, understand that. And we have no other correspondence on track and field, so we have no bills, invoices, or anything at this point, correct?
No, I haven't gotten anything.
Okay, not a problem. Any questions, comments on track and field?
Steve, I got one question. How remember how we in the beginning we talked about the alternates and everything? Are we like able to do any of that, or are we still like right on budget?
We have our money that's in there for contingency that we really haven't touched except for a tiny bit of it. And at this point here, I'm just going to let you know that when the superintendent addressed the town council, he had indicated that he did not want any of the alternates. And, the town council heard that, and that's kind of a direction they gave me. But as we get closer, Wayne, the price on those alternates. I don't know which one, whether it's scoreboard or what, but we could, either through this contract or through just a purchase afterwards, look at doing that. So I guess, Bob, the question would be what the athletic department and what the school would want if we had some extra money. One of those alternates, I think we had to pull the trigger on at the beginning, which was the
lettering the kernels onto the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe that we're beyond the deadline for that.
Okay, that's one I was curious about. So okay.
If you're curious, I will get a hold of Rose, Eric Rossi tomorrow and see if it's still a possibility, because they're in the process of manufacturing now. But that may mean a special meeting.
But keep in mind, some of those things we could add in right at the end once we're clear of all the possible contingency issues.
The only one that's is the lettering on the field itself that would be an issue that would have to be decided right away.
Right, but the scoreboard and the any the fencing and some little things like that, those we should be able to add in at the last minute. The fencing that looks kind of cruddy along Gallup Hill Road there, that and/or a scoreboard. If we have extra money at the end of the project, we could probably go ahead with those. But for right now, I think it might be best to hold off. But Wayne, if talking with the contractor, what's the drop dead dates on the remainders? That'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get that for you, and I should be able to get that first thing in the morning and get it out to you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. All right. Any other questions on that? We good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now we have the high school asbestos removal project. Wayne, I understand that they were mobilizing. Is that correct?
They were getting ready, and then there was an issues because we had to have kids come back in to drop off Chromebooks and uniforms and pick up stuff in their lockers. So we're putting a plan together for that now. We've talked to the state, and they've agreed to let us use the Ag Science hallway to collect that stuff from students in the event there's inclement weather.
Okay.
That's far enough away and can be sealed off.
Yeah. Wouldn't the media center also be completely isolated to the left of when you enter there?
It is, but there's tunnels that run still down into that area because the the heating loop comes off of that. So right where that addition was put on, there's tunnels that go up to that point. So that would be a lot closer to the work area than the ag science.
All right,
And-
so as far as the lockers go, they have to do that at the high school, obviously, but for other stuff like dropping off Chromebooks or uniforms, in theory, you could have them do that at the middle school or something if you had to, right?
Yeah, but what we're planning on doing is doing it all outside. We're gonna have teachers and the administrators basically open the lockers, pack up everything into a bag, put the kid's name on it, and then they'll just come in and pick up the bag. But we're not gonna, at least that's the plan right now, or the thought. There'll be a meeting tomorrow to kind of hash out and finalize things. But the thought is to kind of just get some plastic bags, put all the kids' stuff from the lockers into it, and then have them pick it up in the ag science wing. We're gonna do it outside, but we have that backup if there's inclement weather or stuff where we can bring them in the front entrance, exit them out the back. So we won't have people crossing back and forth with the COVID, passing through the same doorways. It'll be a one-way.
Roger that. Okay.
So-
Obviously, you've got the cog on that, and we got plenty of time for the schedule to get this thing done. So
The tentative start date is 6/1 is where we stand right now.
Roger. All right. So the next item here is the restroom and classroom repairs.
Yep.
And this particular item here is a, one of the things we have to recall here for the committee is that there is no dollar figure on what we determine needs to be completely controlled and run by the building committee. In this case here, the school has put together a list of repairs that they would, I'm going to call them repairs. It says restroom renovations. Repair, renovation, take your different words here. But attached to your agenda is a couple things here. There's a $106,000 cost here for some restroom work. And they've already got prices and things on that. And in addition to that, we also have the demolition and work done for some classroom work as well at $155,000. And understand there that of that, there's a large amount of that is $90,000, which is just whiteboards and furniture being purchased for the high school. So one of the things is the deferment here would be to go to the building committee. The building committee can allow the Board of Ed, in this case, it would be Board of Ed Facilities to, I'm going to use the term self-manage this project based on the funds that are there. With the students being out of the school right now, Wayne's team has a little bit of additional time that they can devote to making sure that this is done correctly. And I firmly believe that if we were to put this out for, run it through the process that we have as a building committee, we'd want to pay more money, it would take longer, and it takes up a lot of time here, and I don't think we would be saving much because it looks to me like this is a pretty well-organized plan. So with that, I am going to make a motion that the Board of Ed facilities self-manage and self-execute the 2019-2020 repairs to classrooms and restrooms, and per the attached list with the estimated cost of $106,460 for the restrooms and the 14 classrooms at $155,938.50.
I'll second that. By Bob.
Was that you, Bob?
Yeah.
All right, Bob Guerra. Bob seconded that. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, hearing that, all in favor of allowing of passing this portion of the project to the Board of Ed for self-management and self-execution, signify by saying your name and aye. Steve Jeskowitz, aye.
Steve McIntyre, aye.
Jerry Cheminsky, aye.
Gary Schneider, aye.
Bob Guerra, aye.
All right, with that, the ayes have it. So Wayne, what we'd ask is when you complete this work, please just report out to the building committee.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And now, as we go through it, I'll give you monthly reports whenever we meet.
Right, and figure out how we want to invoice this. Now, this is coming out of your,
Coming out of the CNR. Yes.
right, so you should be able to pay these directly through your business office, correct?
Yeah, well, it goes through Marcia. The POs come out of the town side from the CNR, but that's fine. I
So
can,
just,
yeah, we'll go right through her.
yeah, just keep us in the loop on that. And at this point, since you're managing it, you don't have to come back with us all the invoices. Just come back to us at the end.
Correct.
And,
No
and of
problem.
course, reports at our meetings.
Yep.
All right.
Very good.
With that, I have nothing else on the agenda. Is there anything else anyone needs to bring up to the committee? All right, hearing none, our next meeting is on the 1st of June. And with that, I move we adjourn.
Thank you.
Second, Steve McIntyre.
Stay safe.
All right, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you and have a great night.
All right. Good night, all.